Hey guys, Derek here at the Community Brew Shop. It's approaching Christmas here. We're in the middle of December. You're probably going to start drinking a little more beer over the holidays, so I figured it's a good time to talk about bottle selection for your home brewery. Not super important topic, but really when it comes down to it, it can make a big difference in the turnout of your beer. One thing that I like to start with is, you think about how you're going to serve the beer. And then from there you can kind of get to your size. But there are a few kind of hints and tricks that you need to know if you're just getting into homebrewing. If you're going to start homebrewing in the new year, maybe it's a hobby you want to check off your list. Start saving your bottles now because you'll need quite a few of them, and if you start now, it'll save you some money in the long run. So the first thing we're going to talk about, you see I have a bunch of different sizes here. The first thing we're going to talk about are the actual colors of the bottles. If you're a first-time home brewer or you're an experienced home brewer, I would try to stay away from green and clear bottles. They do make the beer look really nice inside the bottles, I will agree. But I would try to stay away from those type of things because, as you can see out over my shoulder here, it's a little bit sunny out. Those bottles don't have any light protection for your beer. That's why brown has become kind of the standard color. It protects your beer from UV rays, which can cause spoiling or light struck flavors, they call it. And that's those skunky flavors a lot of times you'll taste in a Corona or a Moosehead in the green bottle. Some people say you get that as well, depending on how it's handled. Now you can do that, it's not illegal, but you should stick to the brown ones unless you can guarantee that your beer is going to be kept out of the light. If you keep it in a sealed box or you wrap it in cardboard or paper after, that's fine, but it's just easier to go with brown bottles to start. It just makes your life a lot easier down the road. Okay, so the next thing I look at, I buy a lot of beer from craft breweries around the area, so one thing that I like to look at is, I look at the beer I like, and then the bottles that I keep will be the ones that have the labels that come off the easiest. I know that may seem lazy to some people, but I've spent 15 to 20 minutes sometimes getting stickers off bottles so I can use it for home brewing, just to find out that when I go to make the beer, I find little sediment when I go to pour it. So it's best to find something that the label comes off easily. You can use Goo Gone, you can use harsh chemicals, that kind of thing, as long as you clean the bottles after and make sure you sanitize them before they're filled. But the easy off labels are the best way to go. So after that, we'll talk about sizes and how many you really require to make a batch of homebrew. So the standard batch of homebrew is 23 liters or 5 gallons. That's your standard size carboy. That's what most of the recipes you'll find it is for that volume. So let's start with the 355. Like this size here, this is a 355 mil, good for serving at home. I tend to give these away to the neighbors for Christmas, that kind of thing. They're a good size. You can drink one and be happy with it. Those are probably the most standard size bottles you'll get from the large macro breweries like Coors Light, Moosehead, Budweiser. They all come in a 355 size. So if you're going to build a 5 gallon batch, you're going to need 65 of these. Okay, you may have a few left over at the end, but you won't be short if you have 65. Okay, so the next size is going to be your 500 mil. This is your common size for craft breweries a lot of times. For your regular IPAs, those kind of things, it's the same size as the tall boy cans that are very popular right now. Those 500 ml bottles, again, are good for your personal serving or sharing with friends. They're easy to take to the neighbors to go over for their Christmas party, that kind of thing. If you're going to dedicate a bottle, again, pick ones that have the labels that come off easy. They're just easier that way. If you're going to use these, you're going to need around 46 of these. To do a 5 gallon batch or 23 liters, because they're half of, you take 23 and times it by 2, so you need 46. The other style of bottle you can actually buy these online. We don't sell them at the brew shop yet, but maybe down the road we will. These are these are what I would call an investment bottle. This is something I actually bought like 15 years ago when I started home brewing, and they're still kicking around today. They're the flip top, they're nice, they're easy to bottle, you just seal them up, you don't need a corker or capper or anything like that to go with it. The only thing I find with these you really have to watch is the seal. Make sure you have the seal properly. I have had more beer, not conditioned properly in these bottles than I have the ones where you cap them yourself. You have to be very careful that the seal is in good condition. You can buy replacements for those every once in a while. The Grolsch bottles that a lot of people use for home brewing, Again, they have the same style of lid on them, so a lot of people, think those are the gold standard, but again, those are green, so be careful with those. If you want to get those, they're easy to find online on Kijiji or, Facebook Marketplace, but be careful because they're green. So again, those two are both 500, so you need 46 of those. When you get up into these are 750s. Here's just your, when you get up in these, one thing you got to pay attention to is the way that they're sealed. This year I forgot was a wine bottle. A champagne bottle. So luckily I had a cork kicking around, reusable cork. A lot of these bottles that have, the ability to be capped do not have the ability to be corked. They have a deeper lip here. So pay attention to that. If you're trying to save bottles for this, you're going to need around, I think, 32 bottles to make a full batch if you're doing a 5-gallon. So make sure that you pay attention to the way that the cap comes off, or if it's a cork and cage, that's fine too, but you're going to have a corker, you're going to have to buy the corks, and you're going to have to buy the cages as well. This is a more expensive option, so even to buy the corks and cages, you're looking at increasing your price of your homebrew bottling system. Okay, last but not least, we'll talk about these. These are the growlers. They come in all different sizes. This is a 1.89 liter. Flip top as well. I would not suggest that you use the growlers like you see behind me. These ones up here will not seal properly for proper carbonation of your beer once you finalized it. You can use them in the brewing process to mix sugar, whatever you want to do, but I would not suggest you put your beer in there when it's done. If you have something like this with a good seal on it that's 1.89 liters, you can use it by all means. That's how this beer that I bought in this thing came, and it was good to take around. It's bottle conditioned properly, but it has to have that good seal on it. That's a pretty big serving size as well, so keep that in mind. I'm going to have to crack that and open it and probably drink it within one to 2 days before it spoils. So make sure that if you get something like that, you know what you're going to be using it for. Other than that, I wouldn't really have any other questions. I don't think that I've been asked, but you start saving your bottles now. It does make a big cost savings unless you want to go and invest money in buying something like this. These can be actually quite expensive. I think when I bought these back in the day, they were like $3.50 for the bottle and the closure. So that's pretty expensive if you think about getting into home brewing when you can save something. You get a 10-cent deposit, so you'll lose that. But really, this is just as good a bottle as that one. So save yourself some money. Start saving your bottles this holiday. One other thing I will say, if you're going to dedicate, any of these bottles to your home brewing, future home brewing, whatever it is, one thing you can do to help yourself in the long run, after this bottle's empty, take it to the sink, give it a good rinse, and put it back in your crate or whatever, wherever you keep them. If you clean these out after you drink them right away, you don't get any sediment sticking around, that kind of thing. It really helps you when you go to your next batch of beer when you're going to start bottling, because then all you have to do is give it a quick sanitizer bath, and then you're filling it and capping it. Okay. One thing I would suggest, I have a different range of bottles here. Again, this is because of laziness on my behalf, because I had these kicking around. I just wanted to use them up. But I would suggest that you save them all the same size. So if you're going to go with 355s, save those and just dedicate those to your home brewing system. Eventually down the road, when you start setting up your capper, you'll have to set it up at all different levels. So if you have, you're filling these bottles up one by one, you don't have to change the level of your capper very often. It's better just to stick with, one standard size. So probably these two here, the 500 or the 355, are probably in the best range. Okay, so if there's any questions, reach out to us on the website. Remember, there's a Ask a Home Brewer tab right on there. If you have product requests, that kind of thing, let us know. And we'd love to hear from you on our social media channels. And again, thanks for watching. This is kind of the first video in our series, so stay tuned for some more YouTube videos on basics and even more advanced techniques for home brewing. Okay, thanks a lot. Merry Christmas, everyone. Stay safe. Cheers.